Welcome to Midnight Horrors. Dive into chilling tales and dark mysteries. Subscribe for more spine-tingling stories. Chapter 1. The Encounter at Dauphin Island. It was a bright, sunny afternoon in 2012 when my little brother and I decided to go fishing off a pier on Dauphin Island, Alabama. The day was uneventful as we cast our lines into the calm waters, the sun glinting off the gentle waves. We had hoped for a big catch, but as noon approached, it became apparent that luck was not on our side. We decided to pack up early, disheartened by our empty nets. As we were gathering our gear, a strange noise caught our attention. It was a low, rhythmic splashing coming from the water, unlike any sound we had heard before. Curiosity piqued. We walked to the edge of the pier and peered into the depths. What we saw made our blood run cold. A dark, serpent-like figure slowly emerged from the water. It was enormous, with a beak-like face and sharp fins that glinted menacingly in the sunlight. Its body, covered in slimy scales, moved with an eerie grace, causing ripples and splashes as it approached the pier. The creature's glowing eyes fixed on us, seeming to pierce right through our souls. We stood frozen, unable to tear our eyes away from the monstrous sight. The atmosphere around us grew tense and foreboding, as if the very air had thickened with dread. The sun, which had been bright and cheerful moments ago, now cast a ghostly glow over the scene, adding to the surreal horror of the moment. My brother clutched my arm, his eyes wide with terror. "What is that?" he whispered, his voice trembling. I had no answer. The creature continued to glide through the water, its eyes never leaving us. It felt as if time had stopped, and we were caught in a nightmare from which there was no waking. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the creature submerged back into the depths, leaving only ripples and an eerie silence in its wake. We stood there, shaken and bewildered, unsure of what we had just witnessed. The encounter left a lasting impression, a dark shadow over what had started as a peaceful day of fishing. Chapter 2. The Colossal Creature. Several months later, I found myself on another fishing expedition, this time off the coast of Costa Rica. The weather was perfect, and the crew was in high spirits as we set out early in the morning. The sea was calm, and we joked and laughed as we cast our lines, hoping for a big haul. As the day wore on, we received a radio call from a nearby vessel. The message was brief but chilling. "Leave the area immediately. Something large is ascending from below." Confused and alarmed, we scrambled to check our sonar equipment. What we saw made our hearts pound with fear. A colossal, shadowy figure was slowly rising from the depths, its size almost incomprehensible. The sonar screen displayed a massive biological life form, estimated to be 50 to 60 meters in length. Panic set in as we realized the danger we were in. We turned our ship around as quickly as possible, the engines roaring as we headed in the opposite direction. As we fled, we caught glimpses of the creature's enormous form breaking the surface of the water. Its sheer size was terrifying, dwarfing our vessel and creating waves that rocked us violently. The sense of dread and terror was overwhelming as we narrowly avoided a catastrophic collision with the unknown behemoth. We watched in awe and horror as the creature's massive body undulated through the water, moving with a deliberate and menacing grace. The surface of the ocean seemed to boil around it, and the air was filled with a palpable sense of dread. The sky darkened, casting an ominous shadow over the scene, and the once calm sea turned turbulent. The crew was gripped by fear, their faces pale and eyes wide with terror. Some muttered prayers, while others gripped the railing of the boat, knuckles white with the intensity of their grip. The creature seemed to follow us, its immense form a constant, terrifying presence beneath the waves. Finally, after what felt like hours, the creature began to descend back into the depths, its shadowy form slowly disappearing from view. The water calmed, and the sense of impending doom lifted, but the fear lingered. We knew we had narrowly escaped a deadly encounter with a creature beyond our understanding. Chapter 3: The Lifeless Serpent. Not long after, I joined another fishing trip with a group of experienced fishermen. We were miles off the coast, surrounded by nothing but the endless expanse of the ocean. The sun was setting, casting a warm, golden glow over the water as we prepared to call it a day. Suddenly, I spotted a large, lifeless-looking mass floating in the distance. Intrigued, we steered the boat closer to investigate. As we approached, it became clear that we were looking at something extraordinary, a massive serpent-like creature, undulating slowly up and down in the water. Its body was inky black and covered in a slimy, reflective substance that glistened in the fading light. The creature seemed to stretch endlessly, its form twisting and coiling in a mesmerizing, almost hypnotic pattern. Despite its seemingly lifeless state, there was an eerie vitality to its movements, as if it were caught between life and death. We watched in awe and fear, unsure of what to make of the colossal being before us. The sun dipped below the horizon, and the sky darkened, adding to the foreboding atmosphere. The lifeless serpent continued its slow dance in the water, a haunting reminder of the unknown horrors that lurk beneath the surface. The creature's presence was unsettling, its size and appearance defying logic and reason. We debated what to do next, the air thick with tension and fear. Some suggested leaving it alone, while others wanted to take a closer look, driven by a mix of curiosity and dread. As we hovered near the creature, it suddenly moved, a slow and deliberate shift that sent ripples across the water. We could see its eyes, dark, empty voids that seemed to hold a terrible, ancient knowledge. The sight was almost too much to bear, and we felt a primal fear, a deep-seated terror that went beyond reason. Chapter 4: The Cold Lake Encounter. Finally, as the last light of day faded and darkness enveloped us, we decided to leave. The encounter had shaken us to our core, and we knew we had been in the presence of something otherworldly, a creature that defied understanding and brought with it a sense of deep existential dread. A few years later, my family and I decided to take a vacation in the mountains, far from the ocean's terrors. We rented a cabin by a picturesque lake, its calm waters reflecting the overcast sky. The setting was serene, a perfect escape from the stresses of daily life. One gloomy, overcast day, we decided to go swimming. The water was cold but refreshing, and we laughed and splashed, enjoying the moment. As I swam further from the dock, I suddenly felt something slimy wrap around my legs, dragging me underwater with surprising force. Panic set in as I struggled against the constricting tentacle-like appendages. The water was dark and cold, and my lungs burned as I fought to break free. I managed to kick and thrash, loosening the grip just enough to surface and gasp for air. I swam back to the shore with all my strength, my heart pounding with fear. My family rushed to help me, their faces etched with concern. I couldn't explain what had happened, only that I had felt something alive and menacing in the depths of the lake. The experience left me shaken, a stark reminder that danger can lurk even in the most unexpected places. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling of the slimy appendages wrapping around my legs. The memory of the cold, dark water and the struggle for air haunted my thoughts. I realized that the lake, which had seemed so serene and inviting, held its own dark secrets. The next day I decided to investigate further, armed with a flashlight and a sense of determination. I waded back into the water, careful to stay close to the shore. The lake was quiet, the surface calm and still. As I moved deeper, the water grew colder, and I felt a sense of foreboding. Chapter 5: The Mysterious Eel. Suddenly, I saw it, a dark, shadowy figure moving just beneath the surface. It was long and sinuous, with tentacle-like appendages that undulated in the water. My heart raced as I realized that I was not alone, that something was watching me from the depths. I quickly retreated, my mind racing with thoughts of what the creature could be. The experience left me with a deep sense of unease, a feeling that the lake was not as safe as it appeared. I decided to warn my family, to make sure they stayed away from the deeper parts of the water. Several years later, I took up scuba diving with a close friend. We were exploring a coral reef off the coast when we discovered an underwater cove. The water was crystal clear, and the vibrant marine life was mesmerizing. We swam deeper into the cove, marveling at the beauty around us. As we ventured further, a large eel-like creature emerged from a crevice in the rocks. It was long and sinuous, with a sleek, dark body and piercing eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. The creature followed us with a slow, menacing movement, its presence both fascinating and terrifying. My friend, eager to capture the moment on camera, pushed his limits, diving deeper and staying underwater longer than he should have. As we surfaced, he began to show signs of decompression sickness. Despite our efforts to save him, he tragically passed away, leaving me with an intense fear of the unknown lurking in the depths. The experience haunted me, a constant reminder of the dangers that come with exploring the mysteries of the ocean. The eel-like creature and the loss of my friend left a lasting impression, fueling my nightmares and my fascination with the deep sea. The underwater cove, once a place of beauty and wonder, now seemed dark and menacing. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of something lurking just out of sight. The memory of the eel-like creature with its glowing eyes and sinuous movements, stayed with me, a constant reminder of the dangers that lie beneath the surface. In the days that followed, I found myself unable to return to the water. The fear was too great, the memories too vivid. I decided to seek help, to talk to others who had experienced similar encounters. Through online forums and support groups, I connected with people who shared their own stories of mysterious creatures and terrifying encounters. Chapter 6: The Storm and the Serpent. Together, we pieced together a picture of a world hidden beneath the waves, a world filled with creatures beyond our understanding. The stories varied, but the common thread was a sense of awe and fear, a recognition of the unknown and the dangers it holds. During a particularly stormy fishing trip off the coast, we found ourselves battling fierce winds and towering waves. The sky was dark and turbulent, and the sea churned with an almost malevolent energy. We struggled to keep the boat steady as lightning flashed across the sky. In the midst of the storm, something large and dark came up from under our boat, causing it to rock violently. We caught a brief glimpse of a long, serpent-like creature, its body writhing and thrashing in the water. The sight was terrifying, made even more so by the chaotic elements around us. The creature disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, leaving us all shaken and on edge. The storm raged on, and we fought to keep the boat from capsizing. The encounter left us with a deep sense of unease, a reminder of the unknown dangers that lurk beneath the ocean's surface, hidden from our view. As the storm intensified, we saw the creature again, its dark form moving through the water with incredible speed. It seemed to be drawn to the chaos, its movements synchronized with the rhythm of the storm. The sight was both mesmerizing and terrifying, a dance of life and death in the heart of the tempest. We held on for dear life, the boat lurching and swaying as the creature circled us. The waves crashed over the deck, and the wind howled, but our eyes were fixed on the monstrous being that seemed to control the very elements around us. The storm and the serpent became one, a force of nature that defied explanation. Chapter 7: The Gloomy Morning. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the storm began to subside. The creature disappeared into the depths, leaving us battered and exhausted. The sea calmed, and the sky cleared, but the memory of the encounter remained. We knew we had witnessed something extraordinary, a glimpse into a world beyond our understanding. On a particularly gloomy morning, we set out for a fishing trip along the coast. The sky was overcast, casting a dull, gray light over the water. As we cast our lines, we noticed strange fish swimming near the surface, their movements erratic and unnatural. We received a warning from a nearby boat about a large creature in the area. They had seen something massive and dark moving through the water and advised us to be cautious. We decided to heed the warning and began reeling in our lines, but not before encountering something truly bizarre. A long, black, kelp-like thing was caught on one of our lines. It was thin and sinewy, unlike any kelp we had ever seen. As we examined it, we noticed it seemed to move on its own, as if it were alive. The sight was unsettling, and we quickly cut it loose, watching as it disappeared into the depths. The strange encounter left us with a sense of unease. The sky remained overcast, and the air felt heavy with anticipation. We decided to move to a different location, hoping to avoid whatever creature was lurking in the area. The atmosphere was tense, and the memory of the kelp-like thing stayed with us, a reminder of the mysteries that lie beneath the surface. As we navigated to a new spot, we kept a vigilant watch on the water. The strange fish continued to swim near the surface, their presence adding to the eerie atmosphere. We couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us, something hidden and dangerous. Later, as we were about to call it a day, we saw it, a massive, dark shape moving just beneath the surface. It was long and sinuous, its form undulating with a menacing grace. We watched in silence, the sense of dread growing with each passing moment. The creature disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, leaving us with more questions than answers. Thank you for joining us on this spine-chilling journey. If you enjoyed the story, please consider subscribing and hitting the thumbs up button. Your support helps us bring more terrifying tales. Stay safe and keep the lights on.